I'm sure we've all gone on BookTok, Bookstagram, BookTube, and seen that one book and then add it to our cart or immediately head to Barnes and Noble to make that purchase. Now, I've done it too, and in a way to ensure that you don't feel bad for some of the wise and not so wise bookish purchase you've made when it comes on to overconsumption or influence. I thought I'll share a few books that BookTok, BookTube, Bookstagram have made me buy. What are my thoughts? Have I read them? Do I plan to read them? Do I want to unhaul? So on and so forth. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna, and if you like reading vlogs, book review, the occasional bookish hot take, don't forget to subscribe since it's $3.99. Now it is 2 something in the morning. I was not planning to remove any books from my bookshelf, so trusted notepad with a list of books. I just look on my shelf and I do have some books that I have bought that I wouldn't say were directly influenced by a book talk or booktube or any bookish community. Well, it's more like a series, so I'm gonna start with that. So for Shadow and Bone and The Six of Crows, I watched a TV show first, loved it. And the minute I discovered it was a book, it was based on books, I wanted to buy the book. So I have I think it's Crooked Kingdom, and I have the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So I would say that's the only one that was a yes and no. Yes, the minute I know it was a movie, I wanted to buy it. And once I saw it on TikTok, I also want to buy it. Also did not buy it for book talk or because I saw it on TikTok. So that's like the only one that's like I don't know where we're leaning with that. But we're gonna head on to Fort Wing and Iron Flame. So for the longest while I did not want to read Fort Wing because when I went on Book Talk, everyone kept saying it was just smut, and I've now learned that it's people that are against smut for some reason. Like you're not kids. If you're not kids, I don't see the problem. Anyways, so for the longest while I didn't want to read Fort Wing, and then I went online and everyone kept talking about Turnock, the dragon, and I was like, oh my God. I read Aragon, loved it, watched the movie. One of the first books I've ever read in one sitting is called Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funk. I definitely have to purchase that book. And so I was like, I think it was 15, between 15 and 17. I sat one afternoon in my bed and I read a 400-page book. That's when I was a super reader. I'm no longer a super reader at 28, but that was when I really knew I love dragons. You can give me any book with dragons and I'll read it. So as far as Fort Wing is concerned and Iron Flame, read it, love it. I wouldn't directly say I'm going to recommend it to you because the only reason why I enjoy it is for the dragons. If you were to remove the dragons from Fort Wing or Iron Flames, then I probably would have never read it because I really don't care about anybody else. But I love Sigale, I love Andorna, I love Turnock. If at any point they remove the dragons, I'ma like have to give these books away. So then there is my favorite book of 2024, Divine Rivals, Rootless Vow. Rootless Vow was a 4.5 because I didn't like how the war was wrapped up in like so little pages. That was a kind of a turn off for me. But Divine Rivals, 5 star, love it. As a matter of fact, back in 2024, before I had this setup, I had bought a laptop stand. If I find pictures, I'm gonna show you. I bought a laptop stand, and for some reason, it wasn't holding up my laptop, so I had Divine Rivals on display. It's like Divine Rivals and Me Before You. They're like fighting for like first place in my heart. I mean, whenever I think about recommending a book to someone, it's always Me Before You and then Divine Rivals. Absolutely love. Would I recommend? Yes, it's like it's YA fantasy about a war. Follows a god named Daker and a goddess named Enver. He's the earth god and she's the sky god. My brain just went blank. I won't spoil you too much for you. I like to say if you really want to know more about these books, you can go look it up yourself because I'm the type of person I start saying one thing and before you know, I've given away the entire plot. So I'm gonna keep my lips sealed and trust my guide. So next on the line we have Curl Prince. Never really heard of that there's a girl named Jude. I think it's some fae with some tail. That's as much as I know because what I started doing is anytime I'm scrolling on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and I see a book that I have on my shelf, I don't care what anyone's gonna say about the book, I scroll past. So I know there's a girl, I think named Jude, because her name is also on the back of the book. And I think there is a tail guy. That's as much as I know. I don't know anything else, and I like it that way. So we have If He Had Been With Me. I started reading this in 2024, also started reading it in 2025, and I'm currently reading it right now. And the thing about it is it's a YA, follows Autumn and Phineas, and I feel like it's gonna be sad, and so I don't I don't really also I have to keep saying I'm 28, and I like to say this is as an adult, almost to my 30s, I don't really like YA book because but I have to say like I love the writing because you can tell that these are kids. You know, sometimes you read YA and they're so mature that you have to be like these are not, but you can tell these are kids. They're really childish. And so a lot of the judgment I would have passed had these been adults, I tend not to when I read YA. And as someone who was very mature at 16, I wasn't doing half the crap any these kids were doing. I try not to be too judgmental, and that's why the only time I tend to enjoy YA is when it's fantasy because there isn't like the normal school system in fantasy. Someone's always fighting for their life. So haven't finished reading If He Had Been With Me. I think it's gonna be sad, and because I've heard people always crying or I've seen people always crying, I feel like if something sad does happen, I don't think I'm gonna feel it as much as I should if I hadn't known. I would have said like if he had been with me, only the worst things comes to mind. So one of the first book of the month subscription boxes I did, I got The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And there's a line in the first page when I started reading it last year, and that's the reason I stopped. There's a line that says, "Oh, she was successful for a black woman" or something along that line. As a black person, and yes, I don't like to make everything about race. For some reason, it's like I'm very beautiful. And if someone was to give me a compliment and then said, "Oh, for a black person," it just defeats the compliment. And I didn't really like that line. And that line, that entire line put me in a whole book. Like that was the last book I recall reading before I took this really, really big reading slump last year. I don't think I recovered. And it's one of these books where I don't think I want to read it, but I feel like I have to because I don't know. Like I keep feeling that if I get past that one line, like this could be a really, really good book. And so it's one of those books where I'm gonna have to either read it and unhaul it or just decide that I want nothing to do with this book. Also, have never read another Taylor Jenkins read, so I don't know if this is a usual thing for her to do. So I think I probably need to read another book by her and then see if there's a pattern, and then I don't know. It's almost 3 in the morning. I don't even know why I'm up doing this shit. I bought Rebel Witch Heartless Hunter. I started reading Heartless Hunter. Love that. I love any book about what do you call it? I love books that has the opposite attract trope, whether it's wrong side of the track, he's a hunter, she's a witch. I got like I think 76 pages in, and then I stopped reading it, went into a really big slump. So it's one of I definitely do want to read the entire series. It's one of those series that I kind of I started reading Heartless Hunter on my I got it through Libby. So for King of Rat, I read Twisted Love. I read two books in the Twisted Love series, and I really loved them. So I kind of loved Anna Wong Hang Anna Hang book. But I started reading King of Rat, and if you've been here long enough, you know I this is one of the first books I've ever DNF. I usually don't DNF books. I don't. As a kid reading, I was reading for fun, and I believe that every book deserved a fair chance. So I usually didn't use the DNF books on up until last year. One of the first books I DNF, I really was it last year or the year before? Either it's 2024 or 2025. I'm getting too old to be keeping track of books. I got to 100, page 112. It had so much hype that I was expecting that by the time I got to 100, page 112, something would have happened. Nothing really happened. And then I'm one of those people, I don't believe a romance book needs to be above 300 pages. And I don't know how many pages. In King of Fighters is one of those books where I am definitely gonna have to either I'm gonna read it and like it, or I'm gonna unhaul. It's gonna be on one of those books that's gonna I'm gonna end up unhauling because I don't even if I read, I don't think it's one of those books that I will like. So I definitely think it's gonna get unhauled unless I hit my head again and I change my mind. I don't think I'm gonna like it. So so when I started buying books back in 2023, I don't remember who, but there was a lot of hype around I think it's the Disneyland Billionaires. And so I bought Terms and Condition because I was like I was really gonna read it. And then I was ready to read the book and I realized that it's book two in the series and not book one. And so I've never read it and it's a really thick book. This is it. Three 360 something pages and I never even tried to find out if this was one of those books where you could read out of order because I was like, romance isn't my preferred reading genre. I love fantasy and with romance. I've always loved fantasy with romance, and that's the only way I like to consume romance. I'll read romance in any genre other than romance. When I was a child, like I was 13, I got my hands on some Barnes and Noble. No, they're Harlequin romance books. And if you've been around longer than me, you know it says 178 pages. That's when I know I loved cowboy romance. You know, she's in town for a little while and they were high school friends. I read a lot of those romance, and in those romance, there was the billionaire trope where he was rich, she was really poor. And romance at that time, at 13, the way I was reading books, it made it seem that women were only there to pleasure men and not want anything in return. You know, it's always those girls who, he's rich. I don't want him to think I want him for my money. And even at 13, I had my ideas about how relationships should work. And so I've read enough of those books. And because of that, I really don't. At 28, I I don't even like romance in movies. I hate rom-com. As a genre, hate rom-com. But you put that same romance in Games of Thrones, you put that in any other, a little bit of romance and thriller, I'll eat that shit up. I love a little drama series with romance. You know what I love? I love watching detective shows with romance. Currently watching High Potential, and I'm really rooting for Morgan and Carbeck. Adam. See, I like romance in anything else, just not when it's romance. And so that I think that's one of those books that I'm definitely gonna unhaul because I have so much fantasies I want to read. I don't want to sit down and read a 368 plus page romance book about some guy who is a billionaire and his grandfather left him some Disneyland theme park shit. I don't want to do that. Then there's Carnival. When I was a wee child, my mom took me to carnivals. I got to see the lion jump through the ring of fire. I guess they don't do that anymore because that's inhumane. And I got to see um acro I was gonna say acrobats. And I got to see motorcycles in this little cage thing. I love carnivals. And so you one of and then I read I think it's called Cirque du Freak. It's about a guy, a carnival comes to town and he becomes a vampire. If you're my age, you should know what I'm talking about. Is it called Cirque du Freak? Okay, in my brain, I remember always calling it Cirque du Freak. I could be wrong. I'm gonna try to Google the book because I think it's a series. I'm gonna try to Google the books and I'm gonna put up pictures so you know what I'm talking about. But Carnival comes to town and he ended up becoming a vampire. Love that. I'll read anything about a carnival, so you tell me that there'll be a carnival and I'm gonna read that. Red Carnival, loved it, 5 star. Hate Stella. That girl would not, oh my God, that girl would not shut up. I don't even remember the other sister's name, but Stella, oh my God, that girl could chat. That girl could chat. I love Carnival. I try to read, I read book two. I think book two was a 3 star. Stella talked. Like, I didn't like her points of view or whatever, or her parts where that were talking about her because and then I started reading finale and I don't know, but Carval 5 star, love it. I don't, I'm not sure if I would per se recommend it to anybody. If you love carnivals and the idea of carnivals and magic and, you know, Carval is your thing. You should read Carval. That's what I'm trying to say. Belladonna. Now, in early 2025, I was doing this reading vlog where I'm reading books that my favorite booktubers read. Well, I'm reading 5 star books my favorite booktuber loved. And so Alexa Ray, when I got back into watching a lot of booktube, she was one of those people. I love her little videos. Her voice is really, really soft. And I like people with soft voice. She has one of those voice where you can put her videos on and you can turn your back and it's really soothing. So I watch a lot of her videos. So when she read Belladonna, just the cover alone, beautiful. And if you've been here long enough, you know I'm obsessed with the personification of death. I love me a dead personified. And the book that I'm currently working on right now, that is a person, except she's a girl. So most of the books I've read, that is a guy. And so in my book, I want death to be a girl. Like, yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna sidetrack. So Belladonna was Belladonna is I think Belladonna is one of the first YA fantasies I read that was fantasy mystery. And have a little bit I love I'm not sure if it's Victorian time, but I love anything where a woman is in a corset. I love jeans too, because I wear a lot of jeans, but I love anything that, I don't know. Give me anything where a girl is in a corset all that feminine dressing. There was no cars. I love me a book that has no cars, no cell phones. They're writing letters, morning tea, all that stuff. I love that. Carvel was a 5 star, and yeah, that was killing me. So the last book on our list is Once Upon a Broken Heart. Um, Once again, I bought this book because Alexa Ray read it and loved it, and I don't know. There's something about when she reads books and she likes books. I like her. Mm, Not all the books she recommends I like, because she also recommended, I think, A Study in Drowning. I really did not like that, but for the most part, the books she reads and love, I somehow like them too. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Once Upon a Broken Heart is also a part or somehow linked to the Carvel world. And so I bought the book. Also, so sometimes I know we're kind of banning Amazon, or we're not buying books on Amazon right now, but the nearest Barnes& and Noble to me is like 90 minutes from my house. Plus, I was recently in a car crash. I don't drive anymore. I haven't driven a car in almost 2 months. I'm not like I don't know how to say it. But anyways, if anyone wants to ever send me book, my PO box is down below. But for the most part, when I don't pay for Prime and I'm buying stuff and I need to get to that it was $25 at the time. When I was $35, so when I want to get that threshold, I'll find books for $6 and I'll buy them. And I'll never feel guilty for buying books on Amazon. I would love to get to a stage, and the reason why I won't ever feel guilty for buying books on Amazon is while all of you are going to Barnes and Noble, and this is no shade, I do buy a lot of my books from local libraries and thrift stores. And so when thrift stores or my libraries are not selling books that I want or books that influence me, I will always buy them on Amazon because I don't have time to drive, or I can't afford to drive 90 minutes to go buy books. But it went dark for a minute, so we're gonna reel it back in. I'm getting a little thirsty, so I'm gonna, we're done. Let me know if you were influenced to buy any of the books that I bought. And you know, yeah. So this is just my little way of letting you know that you're not the only one who buys books that you see online. As you can see, half of these I haven't read. So they do look, some of them do look beautiful on my bookshelf, some of which you can't see. Like up here, right here, that's my Divine Rivals, my Rootless Vow. That's my uh, uh that's my Fort Wing and my Iron Flame. On this top here, most of these are nonfiction. Like I got, like, I was driving past someone's house and that right here, it's like medical books, like tells you like about health problems. Oh my God, I just did my nails and I rubbed them against my bookshelf. And then over here are books that I have read. And so yeah. Anyways, I do hope you guys have been having a wonderful day. As you can see, I'm up at 3 a.m. I'm a little bit of a night owl. Hopefully you are too. And if you're not, if you were sleeping peacefully, thank you for sleeping for both of us. I do once again hope you guys have a wonderful day. No, 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 that's not what I say. I say thank you so much for watching. If I have not been canceled, because I've been making some, controversial videos, that might get me canceled. I'll see you in my next video, and have a wonderful year, month, week, day, hour, minute, second. Toodaloo.